Welcome into another episode of Out of Touch. John Alden, Dustin Schutte, Mitchell Page. The gang's back for another week. And I'm amped again. I'm trying to act like I'm not as amped because, as I just told Dustin and Mitchell before we started recording, I drank coffee before the show again. This is my third cup today. More like it was kind of a half a cup. It wasn't a full cup. And it was half calf. But again, when you've had so much coffee, I think I've said this before too. I've said it on either this show or another show or something, but it takes a toll on your stomach sometimes. And, you deal with that the best way that you can. But I'm here. I'm excited. We're going to get into the voicemail line tonight, which I'm also very excited about breaking that out. So, thank you all to those who participated in sharing some stuff. Hopefully we'll keep getting some submissions each and every week. I won't dive immediately into it. I want to check in on how Dustin and Mitchell are doing, but I am excited to crack that open tonight. Dustin, what's going on?
Man, not much. I'm excited to get into this phone line too, because I'm pretty sure I know at least two of the callers. So that's going to be exciting. But so I've had some trouble, and maybe now I'm going to need John to relay this message to me throughout the week, but maybe if they want to use the call line this week, I'm trying to figure out a Halloween costume. This is the first time I'm going to a Halloween party, and I've dressed up for Halloween since probably college, which is like 14 years for me. And my initial thought, I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, so I thought I would be Indiana Jones. But that's a little expensive. So I might still be able to pull it off. We'll find out. But if not, I need some other I can go for. Well,
there we go. You've dropped out and came back in for some reason, but you say you want some recommendations on what to go as for Halloween.
As Halloween, yeah. I think Indiana Jones is still number one, still the front runner. But if I can't do it, what would be some other recommendations?
I've never really been a big.
Yeah.
Oh, let's welcome Mitchell into the conversation. I don't want to dominate everything. Mitchell, what's going on?
Yeah. What's up? I just think it's funny. Dustin starts talking to a girl. All of a sudden, we're going to Halloween parties. We're young again, and I love to hear it.
Is it safe to say that he's horned up for Halloween? Is that crossing any line? I don't think it is. He's horned up for Halloween. He's excited. He's going to dress up as Indiana Jones or something similar, but he's feeling it. And I think you should just embrace it. I know you gave me a look when I said that, but I think you need to embrace being horned up for Halloween.
I feel like that's not the phrase I'm going to use, but, to each their own.
Mitchell, do you hear the helium voice back? It sounds like when Dustin re-entered the chat, he became helium-induced like he did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I kind of like it. This is just what his voice sounds like to me from now on. I like it better when it's this way.
Well, there you go, Dustin.
We'll just keep it going.
If you want to feel, I don't know what you want to call it. Feel free to re-enter again if you want to try to get rid of that. But if not, you're welcome to stay helium Dustin for the rest of the show. But while he's figuring that out, in regards to Halloween costumes, I've never really been big on dressing up as an adult. That might make me lame, and that's fine. One thing I wanted to do last year, but again, because I don't make the time to do it, I wanted to be a Top Gun pilot. I wanted to get a flight suit and all that kind of thing. Because, Top Gun Maverick was all the rage last year, and I was totally into it. But I didn't buy the costume or make a costume for that matter. But I thought I would look good. And that's the only reason I wanted to be a Top Gun pilot for Halloween, but, didn't follow through on it. Dustin, are we back?
I think we're back. I might still have the helium voice. But
the helium voice is gone.
We're so back. We're so back.
Mitchell, your thoughts on dressing up as an adult for Halloween?
Yeah. The reason that I said what I said is the first year that me and my wife were talking, we went to a Halloween party, and that's the last time that we went to a Halloween party dressed up as anything. She was going to be a praying mantis, which would have been hilarious, but the costume, I do everything last minute, so I'm pretty sure the party started at 7 and we were at Party Tree at 6:30 and got a kid's small praying mantis, so it didn't really work. I had a gorilla suit from college that was pretty ridiculous. It was like a full zip up went over my face, but it was a hairy costume. Like it was a real deal costume. But since then, haven't really done it. But that's funny that you mentioned the Top Gun thing. We were actually just looking for people that are familiar. We're in Atlantic Beach, Morehead City, North Carolina, and there's a Marine base. Camp Lejeune is just down the road, but there's an air base that's a little bit north of where we are, and we've seen a bunch of fighter jets and a couple Ospreys flying around. So we've been talking a lot about just fighter pilots. My best friend growing up is in the Air Force now, so we've just been talking about it a lot. So that's funny that you bring that up.
Did either of you ever see Top Gun Maverick? I feel like most people have seen it. You never know who has or hasn't.
We just watched it this last weekend for like the 5th time.
Really? Oh, for the 5th time. I thought you meant for the first time.
Oh, I love it.
No, it's good. And I'm not a big movie guy. Dustin can probably attest to that, but I kind of I don't even want to say forced into it, but some friends invited me to see Top Gun Maverick, and I never go to movies really on my own. Someone has to invite me for me to want to go to a movie theater. But it was one of those things where once I got settled, relaxed and that kind of thing, I just took it in, and I loved the hell out of that movie. I mean, it was great. Maybe the fact that I don't see a lot of movies that I was easily impressed, but it was one of the best movies I'd ever seen.
On the big screen with the sound.
Oh, yeah.
I know that you were looking up at least once what the entry requirements were for the Navy. Because you were like, maybe. Just maybe. I know I did. I
listened to Danger Zone too many times for the next several weeks after that.
So good. I can't believe you've never seen it, Dustin. You have to.
I have not seen it. I probably will see it at some point. But this is funny, John. So I probably hadn't seen a movie 4 or 5 years in like the theaters. And when I moved here to Brownsburg, I work 4 to midnight on Sundays. So I try to do something. This was before NFL season started. I try to do something in the early part of the day, like just get out of the house, get away from stuff. And I noticed that the movie theater is it's like $6 to see a movie if you go at 10 or 10 time before noon. It is very enjoyable. I went and saw Oppenheimer. I saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I don't know if there's another movie. Those are the two that I wanted to go see, but it's very enjoyable to go to a movie obviously.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's very enjoyable to go to because you don't have to go with anybody.
Well, let me ask you this. You mentioned you saw Indiana Jones. Is that part of the reason why you want to be Indiana Jones for Halloween?
I am an Indiana Jones nut. Like, I love that stuff. I could sit down. So the night before I went to see the movie, the new one, I sat in my living room. My friend and I, he's at his place in Logansport, which is north central Indiana. And I'm down here near Indy. And we were watching all of the movies at the exact same time, texting back and forth. Like, I watched all 4 of them. We were up until like 2 a.m. And then I went and saw the movie at I love Indiana Jones. And I'm not a big action fan, but I have loved Indiana Jones for my entire life. I just love it.
Have you tried I think it's on Amazon Prime, the feature where you can group watch a movie with a different account?
I've heard of it, but I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, okay. I was going to see if that's what you were doing with your buddy.
Now, do you like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? I feel like a lot of people hate that movie.
Yes. Okay, so this is the knock, and I've had this conversation with many, many people. Okay, well, first off, let me give you my rankings, my official Indiana Jones rankings here. Undoubtedly is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Number 2 is the OG Raiders of the Lost Ark. Number 3 is Dial of Destiny, the last one. Number 4 is Crystal Skull. And number 5 is Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom is terrible.
Wow.
So here's the thing. Everybody Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because they thought it was too outlandish, too crazy, just so far out there. But when you watch the other movies and you watch consecutively like I did, it fits right in. It's not as good as the first two, but it's still a good movie, and it still follows movies that are extreme. Like in Temple of Doom, the guy pushes his fingers into a guy's chest and pulls the heart out. So I don't know why Crystal Skull got such a bad rap, but because there was like a 2-decade gap between movies, everybody forgot how kind of unrealistic it was, and so I think it gets negative attention.
Is that the one that Shia LaBeouf is in?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Swinging on the vines. I feel like a lot of people think the CGI in that is why it looks so bad. Is there CGI in that movie? I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can't make Harrison Ford look like that without a little CGI.
One last thing.
A little work.
And I meant to ask you this last week, Dustin, but how's your quote-unquote hernia? Did you end up having a hernia, or what was that pain you were dealing with?
Did we talk about this at all?
Not last episode. We talked about whenever you were trying to figure out what it was, but you were yet to go to the doctor, I believe.
So I did go to the doctor. I should say that the swelling, I don't know how else to describe it. The swelling, the hernia went down, went back in, or whatever when I went to the doctor. Okay? But he still checked, which it's not the most comfortable situation, men, if you have to get this checked out. So what he told me was, he's like, what you are describing to me is that inguinal and goinal hernia, whatever it is. But I don't feel one. And then he's like, okay, but people deal with those for years. So I don't really is. This is also a good reason why I don't go to the doctor, because I feel like I never get an answer.
Yeah.
But I'm good. Like, I wish it would have been swollen when I went there so he could tell me one way or another. But I don't know. So I guess I just wait until it comes back or goes away permanently. But apparently you can live with this thing for years. It's not like life-threatening or anything like some are. So I don't know. But I will say that the week I went to the doctor, we went to the Nebraska-Illinois football game, and I walked around, and I was like, oh, shit, this is going to hurt so bad the next day. Because we were just constantly on my feet. I have felt like a normal human for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, however long it's been now. So
well, that's good. I figured since you weren't complaining about it last week, that was probably a good sign, but I did forget to ask. Excuse me. All right. I think without further ado, we should dive into a couple of these voicemails.
Hey guys, I love the podcast. This is, I just go by ND Hater 1 on Twitter. Anyways, I had a question mainly for Mitchell, and this is about those fans in Indiana that are IU basketball and Notre Dame football fans. Are they as annoying to the team, or do you guys even really pay attention to that? But it just drives me nuts whenever I see these people that as soon as Notre Dame football's out, they get out their IU basketball stuff and don't give any IU football the love it needs. And also, just while we're on Notre Dame, can we just stop talking about the linebacker as this legendary, awesome college bar? It does suck. All right. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good week. Hey, guys. I love the podcast.
Oh, let me stop that.
He's getting a special shout-out. ND Hater, man, what an awesome question. First of all, I don't think you're going to find somebody that is more of an ND hater than me. I grew up an IU fan and a Miami Hurricanes football fan. My dad's from Miami, so I had it on both ways. We had the Catholics versus convicts, but also grew up in Indianapolis. So I was very familiar with the IU basketball fan that liked Notre Dame football and had no idea Indiana even had a football team. What I would say about him is it's just somebody that lives in the past. All those guys are talking about the 1980s like they're today. And I honestly feel bad for him because I'm an IU basketball fan myself, so I get some of this as well. This is making fun of me too. But I can't imagine every fall and every winter you get so much hope just to be dashed. Like, at least with Indiana football, like, right now you turn them on and hope we score a touchdown. We're not very good. But Notre Dame, they can pay the players with anybody in the country. They can recruit with anybody in the country. The campus is whatever. People say it's beautiful. I'm out on the campus. But, to have games like the Ohio State one, I understand. But to just get absolutely waxed by Louisville, you build up your entire life for this Notre Dame football team that's just been disappointing since Lou Holtz was the coach. I can't even imagine. Nothing rings more true than when they made it to the national championship and lost by, I think, 1,000. I think Alabama just scored again in that game. So to them, I just say I feel bad for you. You should try cheering for a team that you have a little victories. Notre Dame never has any victories because the expectations are always undefeated, so you're always sad. So people that are Notre Dame football fans, come on down to Bloomington. You'll have way cheaper tickets. You'll have a better tailgate experience probably, and all kinds of room in the stadium to spread out, get comfortable. So, obviously I'm mostly messing around. But, yeah, if we could – it was amazing when Indiana was winning games how many of those same people were texting me about Indiana football. It really just – it takes winning, unfortunately. It's annoying that we can't get the state of Indiana to cheer for the Hoosiers in football, but for a long time we haven't given them a reason. So we have to put some product on the field. I'd be crazy to think that anybody that's in that position is going to jump ship because I don't want to be on the ship.
Do you feel like, and I've never experienced a lot of the, because I don't live in the area, of the Notre Dame football, Indiana basketball people.
Oh, man.
Do you feel like and maybe some of this happened back in, I guess it was 2019, 2020, and we'll move off of football because I know this isn't the football podcast. But I do want to hear the thoughts on this. Do you think that if Indiana football had sustained success, that the ones that are Indiana basketball, Notre Dame football would jump ship to Indiana football?
Notre Dame, I give them their credit. They have phenomenal fans. They are diehard. They travel to Ireland. They travel to California. They're Ohio State level to me in terms of fan participation. So to expect them to completely jump ship, no way. But having a team like most of those people, for whatever reason, I'm picturing a Yukon XL with an Indiana basketball and Notre Dame sticker on either side of the back windshield. That's what I'm picturing. I grew up in Carmel. You can definitely tell with that comment that I just made. But winning cures everything. Think about if you're paying any attention to athletics in Bloomington right now, the volleyball team is sick. They're beating everyone, and that arena is sold out. Winning cures everything. The girls' soccer team is awesome. The men's soccer team, they sell out the stadium. People want to be around winners, and it just is unfortunately not happening for football. But we saw in 2021, you open up with Ohio State, that place is packed for the first time in probably ever. And so, yeah, I think you'd get people to pay attention. Maybe not jump ship, but they would be paying attention to the Hoosiers for sure.
Well, thank you for the call, Indy Hater. You have the honor of being the very first ever
I love that
touch caller.
I love that question. It's one that I used to get asked a whole bunch about, particularly when Indiana was good, but not as much anymore.
Dustin, do you have any thoughts? You were laughing quite a bit during that voicemail.
No, I know the person who left the voicemail, and that's a great question. I was a little surprised that was the question, though. I thought it might be something a little goofier, but I like it.
You never know.
And we get an authentic answer from Mitchell. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
It is weird.
Thank you, Indy Hater.
I hear because of my Miami roots, that makes me not like Notre Dame way more though than the IU basketball, Notre Dame football rivalry. I think that's the best way to answer it succinctly. My Notre Dame hatred comes more from the Miami side than the IU side.
Well, there you go. The hotline number again is 502-830-9195 if you want to let your voice, be heard on Out of Touch. We're going to go ahead and hit another message.
Was it
in this
Chingy?
one.
Is that on the hotline? Is that a Chingy song?
Is that? I don't know.
No, it's Pretty Ricky.
Yeah.
Pretty Ricky.
Yeah.
Pretty Ricky.
I was in Hotline Bling, Drake, whatever, but
Yeah.
for whatever reason, on the hotline from Pretty Ricky. That's such a good get, Dustin. That is such a good get.
Well, only reason I remember that is because that came out. I don't know if it came out, but it was popular my freshman year of college. And there was a kid in my communications class whose name was Ricky. And so everybody every day for the entire semester would come in and be like, Ricky.
Yeah, I did that for Ricky Jones when I first met him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't call him that much longer. He did not like it. We called him Slick Rick, which I think is also a sweet nickname. But Pretty Ricky did not fly.
We have somebody at iHeart in Louisville whose radio nickname is Righteous Rick. I think that sounds pretty slick as well. Slick Righteous Rick.
I think if he gave himself that nickname,
I don't think he did.
Worse.
I don't think he did. Yeah, because then he'd be self-righteous Rick if he gave it to himself.
That's a good pull there, John.
So there you go. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next call. Remember the hotline number, 502-830-9195.
Hi, this is Jennifer, and I listened to the podcast last night, and the story about you getting rear-ended in downtown Louisville had me a little concerned. When you get rear-ended in downtown Louisville, the best thing probably to do is not get out of your car. I would just drive away. You never know what kind of psycho is behind you. You wouldn't want to get shot. Thanks. Take care all. Bye.
Oh, man, I love the bluntness. I love it.
I love it, too.
She's looking out for your safety.
She is. Thank you for the call, Jennifer. And this gives me an opportunity to say something about myself. And I may have said it before. I don't know. I talk about myself a lot. Maybe I'm too egotistical. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm a very naive human being. And so if anybody's going to get out in the middle of a place that they're not supposed to be and not realize that it might be more dangerous than it actually is, it's going to be me. And I was concerned about the vehicle, but I do appreciate you, Jennifer, for being concerned for my safety, because I mean, you never know. I said before, I think on the for those of you who didn't listen to last week's episode, the accident that she's talking about, and it's not even really an accident. I was pulling out after doing the Louisville football postgame show at work, and it was about 12:30 at night. I went past a couple stoplights, and some dude who didn't have his lights on gave me a little love tap on my car. And I pulled over the side, got out, and he just sped right off. And thankfully, there was no damage to the car, but that's what happened. I don't know. Maybe I should have driven away. What are your all's thoughts?
I would have gotten out.
Yeah, I would have got out for sure.
There you go.
I don't know why.
You don't know what because you got to check the damage. I don't know. I don't want to be the person in trouble for a hit and run. You know what I mean? Like maybe if after that person drove away, I'd probably just get back in the car and drive away. But
and maybe it's one of those
there's any
things
sort of accident.
Like he obviously could see the back of my vehicle whenever I pulled to the side, and he might have been like, "Oh, I didn't do anything to his car. I'm just gonna pull over. I'm just gonna go away in case this guy's gonna slug me." Which I'm the last person who's gonna do that. But again, like Jennifer said, downtown Louisville, you never know what you're gonna run into.
Yeah, his lights were off. He brakes. He taps into you. What was the force of the tap? Was this like whiplash inducing, or was it just like a?
No, it was just like a little nudge forward kind of thing. Like if somebody slams on the brakes, but it's really not even that bad.
Interesting. Okay, I still would have got out.
So there you go. Speaking of another thing with my car that happened a couple of days ago, the door handle on the inside of the driver's side door It just fell off the other day. Like I went to open the door and the door handle just fell off. And for the first couple of days, whenever I was dealing with that, I just like, well, I guess I just got to hop over to the other side and get out, which was a pain in the ass. But what I started doing today, I was like, oh, I can just roll my window down, open the door from reaching out the window, and then pulling it open from there. It's still ridiculous. But, I mean, I don't know many people who've had their driver's side door handle pulled right off by themselves.
This might be the most Kentucky thing you've ever said on this podcast, John.
Hey,
you might be in the market for a new car. I hate to tell you.
If that's the worst thing going on in my car, then that's great because I haven't had many issues with. I mean, I drive a Toyota Camry. It's 2002. It's very old, but it's only got close to 180,000 miles on it. I bought it when it had 60,000. The only person, well, maybe not the only person. The person who drove it before me was an elderly woman. And took very good care of it, evidently, because it was in good shape whenever I took it from her. Not took it, bought it. But it's had very little issues over the years. So
other than I guess the inside handle fell off because she was trying to hold the door closed as you were trying to open it and yank her out of there to steal the car.
I was like, give me the car.
Yeah.
Give me the car.
20 years later, the handle falls off.
Yeah,
she didn't have a very strong grip, just enough to loosen it there.
Yeah, that car's pretty sweet. What color is your 2002 Toyota Camry?
What color do you think it is? There's not like an obvious answer to it. I just feel like they all look the same.
Tan.
It's silver. Dang. But see, like I would have thought that that's a good guess. I'll just say that was a good guess.
I'm looking at them right now. Do you have the old school radio in there too with the cassette tape?
It does have a cassette tape. And I used to use that as like, so you can, in AutoZone and other places, you can buy little cassette things with cords that essentially, just let you plug into your phone, which is pretty cool. I don't use that anymore. I have one of those little Bluetooth radio things where it finds unused radio stations and it just connects your phone to that. And essentially, if somebody was driving next to you and tuned to that exact same radio station, they would hear the same thing you're hearing, which is kind of interesting. I've never experienced that, but it's kind of cool to think about.
Could you change somebody else's radio doing that? Because that would be incredible.
No, you can't change it. You can only take channels that just have static on them.
This is a conversation from 2009.
It is. I guess, right?
I haven't heard of anyone talk about the thing that you were talking about since 2009.
Mitchell's like, man, I got money. I'm driving a 2023 Mustang. What are you doing driving a 2002 Toyota Camry?
No, they just came out. Uh-oh, my dog's going to bark. Hold on. We're at a hotel, and we got our dog with us, and there's a bunch of dogs in this hotel, and every time a little dog runs by the hotel room, Frank goes nuts.
He just wants to play.
Yeah, he actually did pretty well in that. But I forget what I was saying. But Bluetooth, it was invented like a long time ago at this point, and they just started putting it in cars a long time ago.
What do you drive?
I drive a Toyota 4Runner from 2000.
Okay, so Team Toyota. I bet Dustin doesn't drive a Toyota.
No. What do you drive? Ford?
Nope. Chevy. 2013 Chevy Cruze.
Chevy Silverado.
Ooh, Chevy Cruze.
Chevy Cruze. Yep. But let me tell you something. I rented a car this was when I left my keys in St. Louis. So this would have been about 2 months ago now. And it's like a space car to me. Like the big screen where it's got your map up in front. If you want to call somebody, your whole life is on that one. So now I'm debating on if I want to buy a new car or not. Because my car is currently paid off. And it's at 88,000 miles because I don't have to drive to work. So I've had the car for 7 years and it's still not at 100,000 miles yet. But I really like the idea of having that SUV space car and pretending I have money.
What was it?
There you go.
I don't
Was it Chevy?
remember.
Was it a Blazer? The
No,
new
it wasn't.
Chevy Blazer is one of the coolest cars on the road. The white with the black trim is so cool.
This might have actually been a toy. Maybe I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at my records.
But that AirPlay, where you connect with your phone and all the apps are on there.
Yep.
Yeah, that thing is so cool. I was trying to get that on the 4Runner that I have, but the upgrade for that is pretty expensive, so I did not do that.
All right. A couple more things I want to get into before we wrap this edition of Out of Touch up for the day. Dustin, you sent us a message a couple of days ago, and you said that this, whatever it was you were describing, I don't remember off the top of my head, it was your version of the ASMR stuff we talked about back in one of the earlier episodes of the podcast.
Yes, the hydraulic press, where it just like squishes everything. I could watch those videos nonstop all day long.
I've seen
just to see how it crushes other things.
Yes, those are actually sweet.
It's so stupid.
Those are very satisfying.
Even when you know what the result is going to be, there's just something very satisfying about it. And I thought about it the other day when I was watching. Like I watched 5 or 6 of them just in a row, and they were all like 4 or 5 minutes, and they just kept putting different items. And I was like, if this is what ASMR is described as, then yes, I am definitely.
I love it. Those they come up on my Instagram every once in a while, like squishing a bowling ball or something. Yeah.
Yep. Have you ever seen this? I feel like this is in the same vein of that. This used to pop up on my Instagram frequently, but I haven't seen it in probably over a year. But it's along those same lines of satisfying, relaxing stuff, where there was this dude, and he would take a knife and he would like freeze. I don't know if it was like balloons or a ball, but he would like very precisely cut it, and then it would cut another one, and then it would cut another one. And it was just, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it might be hard to visualize what it is. But if you look it up, you'll probably find exactly. Like if you just typed in balloon
guy with knife.
Actually, I don't know what you would type in, but there's a way to find it, I'm sure, on the internet.
That reminds me, I saw, first of all, I think I've perfected the algorithm for Instagram. All it does is feed me really stupid, funny videos. Like there is no deviation from that. The algorithm has pointed me straight to this. It's come up. It's been years and years of work, but now it is just constantly funny, stupid reels. But one came up today that wasn't necessarily funny. So I guess but it was David Blaine, and he was at Harrison Ford's house. So this is like meshing of two worlds that we were just talking about because Indiana Jones. But there was, I think it was an orange, and he was doing his magic trick, and he says, Harrison, tell me what your card was. And it was a 9 of hearts. And there's an orange on the counter, and he says, okay, cut open that orange. And Harrison Ford cuts the orange, and the 9 of hearts card is in the orange. I don't know how does that happen? Do you ever watch those magic videos?
Yeah, have you ever? So my wife and I, before she was my wife, this is probably like 4 or 5 years ago, we went and saw, man, what's that TV show? The Carbonaro Effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that show? I don't remember what channel it's on. It might be Travel Channel or something. I'm sure that's not what channel it's on. It's just a random guess. But the dude who does that show did like a magic sort of thing, show, whatever. It wasn't the exact, like, it wasn't like a live version of a TV show. It was just like a magic thing. And he did it at one of the theaters in Louisville. And there were certain things where I'm just like, it had to be staged, right? And the orange thing that you're talking about, it has to be in that same vein. Am I wrong?
The orange was not cut open. I don't know how you get the card in the orange. It is an orange, a whole orange with the skin intact. And he cuts it, and in the middle of this thing is a card. And I don't understand. I mean, that is just magic. You
and when he sliced it open, there was did it look like the card had orange crap all over it? Like, did it? I wish I could see a visual of this.
Yeah, I'll send it to you guys. And you can look it up. Speaking of looking it up. But yeah, it didn't make any sense to me. It was just real magic. But that also makes me think, we were talking a little bit about the Hoosiers. And when we were in college, I'm sure you've seen the videos of the hypnotists that go into these like team meetings and hypnotize the guys. Well, we had a guy come do that. And I was not one of the people, so I was watching what was happening. There was 8 guys that they called up, and he went through his spiel, and he was telling what was going to happen, and then he snapped his fingers, and all of them were asleep. Do you guys think what those people are doing, like he had some of the guys like acting like a cat, and like it was bizarre. Do you think how do you think that is happening? What do you think is happening in that state?
Dustin, go ahead.
I have no idea.
You looked like you had a thought. You looked like you had a thought.
No, I was actually hoping John would go first so I could collect some potential thoughts. But I have no idea. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure there's some sort of psychology behind it, but I have no idea how any of that would work.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a legit hypnotized in a cartoon. He was telling them what to do, and I was up there with him. I saw the randomness with which he picked, and these are guys that would not consent to what they were doing.
Well, did you ask the guys after the fact, like, hey, did you have any control over
that? They had no idea. They watched the video and were stunned at what was happening, and it was genuine, almost fear.
So when they snapped out of it, they didn't have any recollection of it?
None. They didn't even know that time had passed. They assumed that he was still telling what was going to happen. And
that's a little spooky. That's true. I believe that it happened, but I hope they weren't just in on it. Like, that's just spooky.
There was no way. These are big, massive humans that do not come from Carmel, and they are not going to be crawling around on all fours, purring like a cat.
Well, that's another hotline call idea. Obviously, we've already got the Dustin wants Halloween costume ideas. Another thing you could send us, and I'll have one more suggestion at the end of this too, and it's one we talked about before. But if you've ever been hypnotized or know someone who's been hypnotized or gone to see, what are those, like a palm reader, if you've ever done any of those things, give us a call at 502-830-9195 and tell me how it was. Because I know that those professions, if you want to call them that, I feel like I'm being disrespectful right now. I don't mean to.
This hypnotist guy, that was a profession. I don't know about all this other stuff, tarot cards, palm reading, whatever this guy was doing. You cannot just do that. You have to be some kind of magician.
Well, if you know,
maybe? I don't know.
A wizard.
Well, I've got to say, I do know one person, and it's one of my wife's friends, and I won't say this person's name, but they went to, I think it wasn't the tarot card. What's the one I just said? It was a palm reader. And this was maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. This palm reader predicted that they would live in a certain area and that they would marry a certain person, and neither of those two things happened. But again, that's predicting, and that's just more like, I guess, like a scam, whatever the heck they went through. But you know,
some people throw their life savings at those people. It's true.
They do.
He's like,
the thing is, but those people are. Mitchell gives all his money to Wikipedia and to palm readers.
Yeah, those are my palm readers, the Wikipedia.
But those people usually just talk in like vast generalism. And so they're like, somebody you know is going to die in the next 10 years. Like, okay, yeah, probably chances are that will happen. Like, yeah. I know a lot of people, probably somebody, like they just talk about, so I don't ever put much stock into that stuff. But there's some stories I could go into because we're running out of stories I could go into, not about other people, but about like signs I've received throughout life. And like, you don't know those signs at the time, but then you look back and you're like, oh, that was supposed to be a sign.
Hmm.
Life's weird, man.
Do you believe in predestination?
Yes and no.
No.
I could say yes and no. If that's I don't even know if that's a real answer.
So do you believe that there's a path that you follow? You can deviate a little, but you are always gonna be at this end point.
That's not the way I see it as. Like, I believe in free will, but I also believe that the God that I believe in also knows exactly what I'm going to do. I don't know if you want to call that predestination or not.
Yeah.
But I do believe we have free will.
So I agree. But this is something that I always think about. Like, and this is not what I don't believe that what I'm going to say is true. But if I want to preface it with that, but it's something I think about, and I think probably a lot of people think about, is if the God that I believe in knows that some people are going to murder someone else, why doesn't he stop that? Like, you hear some of these heinous crimes. Why wouldn't you stop that?
It's a loaded question.
It's a very loaded question, and maybe that's not a call-in line.
I mean, you can. Again, we said no boundaries. You can, even if you don't call us in with things that we suggest, you're welcome to call in about other stuff. I'm just
and they don't have to be played on the show. I'd just be curious if there's, I don't know, maybe like someone that's a preacher or a priest or some kind of person that is more educated on it than me. That's a question that I ponder, and I think a lot of people think about. And there's obviously only the good die young, and everybody has their time, and some people are just ready to go home. But I don't know. I'd be curious what people of other thoughts,
perspectives.
Yeah.
I feel, in my experience, this is probably going to be different than what you guys. I feel like, I don't know. I have become very observant of what's around me now, based on things, like I said, like based on things that have happened. So I feel like for me, in my experience, there's a lot of attention to, and then what I do with that information that I feel like is given to me is like, that's my decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. So you're given the keys, but you have to decide which car you're going to turn on. That was a horrible analogy. That analogy.
No, no. You're presented with two doors. You pick which one you're going to go through.
Yeah. See, that was way better. I started off hot. I'm thinking you're given the keys, and then I was frozen. I was like, "But what are the keys for?" And I chose a bunch of cars. It could have been a lot better. Yours, way better.
I think I have a thought on what you were saying about why does God or a God, whatever you believe in, let things happen? And my answer would be, like I mentioned, free will and believing in predestination and free will. If you have free will and you believe in that, then no matter what the higher power that you believe in, I guess not no matter what, but depending on what you believe in, if you think you have free will, then by that law, so to speak, then he has to allow anything to happen, right? Because then it wouldn't be free will.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I believe, that the God I believe in, God, has a plan.
We've taken a really interesting turn in this last part.
He has a plan. He has a plan for us. And just the way that Dustin says, like, he's mapped out a life for us. We have to decide if we're going to put our trust and not guide ourselves. Like, you always hear people say, like, put your trust in the higher power, whoever that is to you. And he's going to guide you where you need to go. And that's kind of like taking control out of your hands. But all bad, like the bad things that do happen, that's humans taking control, if that makes sense. Utilizing the free will. Like, it's my free will to hand over the keys. See, that was a better analogy with the keys. I needed to get the keys in there. Yeah, that was a weird turn, but that's interesting. I'd be curious.
It's okay. I love when the show takes us in all sorts of directions, and that's exactly what we've done tonight. Quick little betting update. I did mention I was going to bring that up. This is a
really good, really good thing to follow. Talking about free will, it is your free will to bet. So continue.
All I'm saying, I just said I would provide an update after I told you what happened. The 2 parlays I laid down this week got me 0 winnings, and now I'm empty in my DraftKings account, and it stayed that way so far.
Okay, so
so far.
Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
I didn't say I would never do it again. I just said I hadn't put any money in it.
You did say you would. You said when that goes to 0, then I'm not going to put anything from my bank account into that thing.
Welcome to the addiction, friend.
I believe I said the goal was to not put any in there.
You can play the tape.
I'll go back and maybe we can play back what I said on next week's episode.
Yeah, what I said is what you're saying is how it starts. And now you're already to second grade gambler. You've already lost your free bet.
Yes.
Yeah, your free house money, that's your words, not mine. House money is gone.
Yep.
We haven't made it to the next weekend. There have been 0 games. There's been nothing to bet on. You're going to start getting
bet whenever you want. You can bet on anything 3 weeks from now.
But what I'm telling you is as it gets closer, there's just a little itch. And you scratch it, and you're like, okay, it's just not. And then all of a sudden you're scratching your neck, and you're just full on addicted. And you're just betting on, I don't know, cricket at 7.
I love how you said last week that you're not trying to put some sort of addiction curse on me, but the more you keep talking about it like it's just going to fester.
You are letting it
manifest itself. No, it hasn't. I have not had the urge to put money in there.
Listen, we've already.
Yes, you said so far.
Again, like I said this earlier, I'm going to find what I said. I don't think I said I would never put money in there. I said the goal was to make that last as long as it could, and it's already gone.
Right. So, in your words,
I think you're twisting your.
What you said last week would be you would delete DraftKings and never get it again.
I never said I would delete DraftKings.
You have already changed your narrative in your mind. This is not me. I'm just telling you, I, right now, have predetermined your destiny, your addiction. It's your free will to follow it, but I think in gambling, there's not a lot of free will. It is so fun. And the little win, full-on addiction. It's like hitting the center of a golf club. You hit your first iron shot, pure addiction forever. When you hit that ball on the 3rd groove with a 7-iron, and it takes off like it was shot out of a cannon, sports gambling, same thing. You hit that first 2-legger parlay with your own money, you're rich.
I'm going to go back and listen, and whatever I said, whether I'm right or you're all right, I'm playing it on next episode.
I was going to say, play the clip.
That sounds good.
Dustin, were you going to say something?
Speaking of golf, I'm playing golf. 60 degrees. Me and my dad are going to go out, play a little golf. I think you got a buy one, get one round.
Nice.
Oh, I'm excited. It's going to be the first time I played in I don't know. It's somewhere in Zionsville, I believe, but it's probably the first time in 4 months I've played. Maybe even longer. I moved here in July, so it's probably been 6 months since I played golf.
Is it a private course or public?
It's public. I think it's a nice public course, though.
Is it like up by Lebanon? Is it Trophy Club?
Maybe. Honestly, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you even if you named it because he just said I had a BOGO.
I love it. Underrated public golf. Trophy Club has buy one get ones all the time, so there's a chance.
So maybe that's what it is.
If it's Trophy Club, boy, better tighten your boots tight. That place is gonna eat you alive. It is so good. One of my favorite courses. Public golf in Indiana, now that I've been a couple other places, about as good as it gets. Indiana, Wisconsin, I think Illinois got some really good public golf. Ohio has good public golf. But I've been down here in the Carolinas. You think public golf would be unbelievable. It is just not.
Or it's either really not or it's other than you can't play it.
Yeah.
Or you choose not to pay the $100 per round. That was my case.
100 is not actually that bad. I would pay $100 for a nice golf course.
Well, there you have it. There you have it.
Yeah, John, we got to get you on the golf course.
I tell you, I think I've said this before. I need to stop saying that. I've noticed that's something that I tend to get in my head with. I tend to always think I've already mentioned the story. I just need to get over it. If I've said the story once, then I'll say it again.
You're on a lot of shows, man. You're a famous guy.
I'm not a famous guy, but I do a lot of shows. But now I'm losing my train of thought. The only time I ever did golf, and it wasn't competitively, it was in 4th and 5th grade in elementary school. There was like a golf. It wasn't even like a team. It was more of just like a club where like 7 or 8 of us, and the teacher that was sponsoring it would drive us like not even but 2 or 3 times in the year to the local 9-hole golf course. It was called Twilight Golf in Jeffersonville, Indiana, if you're familiar. I don't even think it exists anymore, but that's the only time I ever played like real golf. And again, you're at that age, you can barely swing correctly.
Yeah. What I'm going to tell you is I knew you didn't play golf when you started the story with the only time I ever did golf. That's all I needed to know about golf bets. Yeah. That's all I needed to know.
I know you play golf. I just worded it weird.
I know, but like if you played golf, saying I just did golf, that sounded like a dagger into my ears.
Oh, man.
It sounded so weird.
That's hilarious.
So weird. But that's funny. Yeah. Golf's the best. I did join a golf course in Charlotte. I'm very excited about it. Did I tell you about this?
Nice.
I don't know.
I'm very excited about it. We just played the club championship like 2 weeks ago. Didn't win.
Yes, you did tell us that.
I didn't win. I made it to the semifinals.
Well,
I'm just a bum.
It's okay. We're all bums.
Well, you got a goal for next.
We do have. I've got a big tournament, and probably 0 people that listen to this will know what I'm about to say. But I'm really excited for it. In December, do you guys follow Barstool at all?
Not closely, no.
So they have a.
I know what he's talking about. Is what I was going to get at. Yeah.
Yeah, the Barstool Classic. There's it's a year long. They've got like 25 different qualifying sites for this national tournament in December in Scottsdale in Greyhawk, which is an awesome, awesome golf course. And that's coming up in December. So I got to start dialing it in. I'm a little bit loosey-goosey. Got a little over the top move right now. Don't love it. So that's my goal for this week. By next week, I'm going to have that eliminated. I'm going to be dialed in, and we're going to be heading the right direction with the game.
Well, there you go. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Out of Touch. Remember, hit the hotline. Tell Dustin what he needs to wear for Halloween. Tell us if you've ever, seen a hypnotist, seen a tarot card reader, seen a palm reader, any of those things. Tell us some of your ghost stories, because I just checked when I was looking at the rest of the month. There's only one more Wednesday in the month of October. So we're going to hit all of our spooky type of topics next week. Hopefully you guys will participate in that as well. I'm excited. Thanks to all those who did hit the hotline in our first edition of having it. Indy, Hater, and Jennifer, appreciate it. And don't be a stranger. Do it again. And for those of you who haven't, hopefully you'll send us your thoughts on all sorts of stuff. So until next time, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.